got a vibe to that. You got a vibe to that. Same kind of vibes as 3 point settings, 3 points collectors. That's who we are. We are 3 point collectors. We also do well with giving 3 points too. So, you know, you give some, you get some. It's all good stuff though, because today is a fantastic day. Performances, I can. It's some good and some bad, but I think today positives outweigh negatives. 3 points, 3 goals, solid. A few pretty solid performances today. I think the only real downside aspect was perhaps where this was a Southampton team that were there to be beaten, sixes and sevens. We only managed 3 goals. And I think the beginning of the first half was, it was dire straits, and it could have gone down the road of being a completely different game, especially for that opening 30 minutes before Man United really got any sort of foothold at all. So, yeah, there's question marks there, 100% question marks there, but I think there's a lot of glaring positives with today, which we are going to serenade in. We're going to marinate in this in the sauce that is winning games of football and soaking it up. Anthony Herbert, big up Fuzzy, big ups to you, Anthony. If you want to jump on and give your verdicts for today's game, Anthony, or the games that you have seen, then I can send you the link and you can share with us your verdicts. I don't know if you were watching the game today. I was busy at work, so sadly I've had to only really consume things and highlights and seeing what people have said. But from the highlights I have seen, there's a few interesting angles that I have, a few interesting takes, but I think just in the general consensus, it's all a good feeling at the moment. Good game today. Eric Ten Hag in LOL. Well, I mean, if that's kind of the results that we're going to get this season, then long may it continue. But I mean, there's still elements to the manager's game today that I think were quite lacking. I think a tactical setup was a little bit, questions to be asked, but also the management of the game in terms of substitutions, the timing of the subs. I think, could have done with better work and better decision makings, but the players, some individuals stepped up big time today. So we'll be giving praise where praise and credit is due. I'll just send the link to Anthony just in case if he would like. I'll extend the invitation. You can jump on if you like to. And I've also got a live updates feeds at the moment on the site from the Bournemouth-Chelsea game, which at the moment it is a penalty to Bournemouth. So interesting things going on there for the Blues. Might have the Blues getting their cherries popped by the Cherries, ironically or unironically, whichever way you want to look at it. But either way. Let's start with divulging the performance in the game in its entirety. So, first whistle blows, game kicks off, and first 10, 20 minutes, I think Manchester United back foot, not establishing much in the way of control or getting the ball under their feet in possession and playing the ball around a little bit, bit of comfort, bit of familiarity, getting the link-up plays going, the chemistry, working that side of the game, and not really sticking with anything. It looked like it was Southampton starting the game fast, starting the game in control, and working their play style well. They looked like they were going to cause all sorts of problems, and Manchester United couldn't really figure out the balance, the setup. I think the setup was, sometimes it's a hit and sometimes it's a miss with the manager in how he chooses the team. Today, it started off a miss, and it could have been in various instances where Southampton take the early lead, and I think none more obvious in a chance to take the lead than the penalty situation. Penalty to Southampton. Looking at it from the Dalot's perspective, playing down on the left hand side, I think let the Southampton player get wrong side. Had to come from behind, pause. And it was always going to be a difficult challenge to make because you got to almost go around the player to sort of, dissuade the ball out of the danger area. But I think before that incident, there was also players getting in down the left hand side. So I think the left hand side of the pitch today for Man United, defensively, a bit suspect. I think through midfield, but also defensively down the left hand side. I think again, we saw it with how much space they were able to attain in the attacking thirds of the pitch, especially with Kobbie Mainoo being almost left to go and solely pivot the number 6, which is never really going to end well, as we've seen so far with this system. That whoever plays the number 6 is going to look a little bit worse for wear, and today was Kobbie Mainoo having to pay his dues and take the hit with this, because Christian Eriksen was the midfield partner, and him being of course he's got a technical aspect to his game, so you want to use his the neatness, the tidiness of some of his play further forward, further up the pitch, but ultimately pushing Eriksen further up the pitch, you also started Bruno Fernandes, which was not in my predicted lineups because I thought that Fernandes had garnered a small knock from international duty, that perhaps he would be on the bench. But if not, then Eriksen should be the player to start up top, whilst then securing Ugarte with being the midfield partner in the defensive side of the game. I'm a little bit perplexed with the Ugarte benching, and it just feeds into the really just ludicrous handling, like player management from Ten Hag, because Ugarte, he's not just had training to be match fit for this game, but he's also had the international duty. He's played twice on international duty. He's got the match fitness there, right? He's got the match fitness. Lisandro Martinez, De Ligt. Well, Lisandro Martinez more so than anything else, right? He's had match experience as well on the international duty. So, I mean, we can't say that, well, they probably came back the latest, being that they probably travelled the furthest, to be honest, from South America. But still, it's it is a baffler. It's another case of, well, new player comes in and the order of the day is not starting them. You spent a lot of money on them. They've trained and then had international duty and got match sharpness there, come back, big opportunity in a must-win game. You think Ugarte starting that game, getting in there, get stuck in. Nope, he's on the bench. And instead, the midfield is very attacking heavy, very, very attacking heavy. No support network there for Kobbie Mainoo to man the midfield. So it was going to look like a long day, a very, very long day for Kobbie Mainoo. And I thought that midfield was going to be so stretched threadbare that Southampton were going to walk away 2-3-0 victors of themselves. Like, genuinely, I looked at that team and I thought, Oh, hell no. Hell nah. That team's in trouble. That team is in big, big trouble. But, you know, luck was on our side today. Luck genuinely was. Thankfully, when it came to the penalty, Archer, I mean, no conviction behind the penalty or poor choice of execution, whichever whichever one it was. To me was, that if it comes to taking penalties, that's quite simply put not the way you want to do it. Made it quite easy, quite straightforward for Andre Onana. Down to the taking the shot down to Onana's right hand side. Comfortable height, but Onana, I think, not really trying to make any commitments with it. I think just make the save. He parried it back out to Archer, which by which point the follow up effort from Archer was less than impressive as well. A very underpowered, sort of like a lost cause header, just flop in the air, just just that sort of half-assed header. There's like, I've cocked this one up. Definitely not going to go in, but it's like that defeated attempt. You already know it's not going to go in. It's not going to be a goal, and you still just direct it towards the goal. Yeah, to me, I think Southampton will look at that penalty miss as the biggest damning indictment to this game, especially from their perspectives, because they were on top at that point. They were very much on top. They had the better of the opportunities. They're working better chances. We were affording them more space and more time on the ball. Get us to the switch of momentum where we started to create the chances and get more into the game, start to find competitive aspects for the game. And do you know what? The biggest credits that I've got for the team balance, the best balance that we've got in this team, the best partnership that we've got in this team right now is not the De Ligt Martinez partnership. No. Is the Mazraoui Diallo partnership. That right hand side is hitting nectar honey. Sweet as you like. It's working perfectly. Mazraoui, Diallo, doing all sorts. Solid defensively. Diallo doing work to track back. Provide extra support defensively for Mazraoui, and showing good prowess in attack when going forwards with Diallo, creating, switching things up, keeping the defence guessing. And it was a back five. I think it's like a back 3/back 5 from Southampton, with Walker Peters down that left hand side, and Stevens was there more or less to help him out. But yeah, for me, Diallo, fantastic performance again, and Mazraoui, great in the support department. Brilliant in the support department there from Mazraoui. And it's a very, very strong element in the team right now, and it's something to be looking forward to, seeing how much more this partnership has to offer down the right hand side. God forbid that any bad injuries happen to Mazraoui or Diallo to break up that partnership, because I don't think we're going to see quite as sweet a performance. But maybe then again, if Mazraoui provides good attacking support, then Anthony, somebody who I think that Mazraoui may have played with a couple of times before at Ajax, maybe there's a complex there that we could see get worked into the game as well. So perhaps there is plan B. There is a plan B there, but we'll have to see if and when it happens, how well it copes. Because I think right now we've hit the sweet spot. We've hit jackpot with this right hand side, and long may it continue. We need to see Diallo getting some goals, because he had quite a couple of good chances today, and set up a goal, of course. Can't forget. Um, it was a little pass to Rashford, which, by the way, second goal, which I'll come to in a minute, is it's an interesting one. It's a weird one, a weird goal for me. But first and foremost, the 1-0, the deadlock breaker, or the icebreaker. We'll call it the icebreaker. It wasn't really a deadlock, but the icebreaker came in the form of a back stick header by De-Ligt, probably from a corner set piece. Bruno Fernandes putting it into the mixer, and De-Ligt. I think one thing I do like about De-Ligt is that he knows how to be that, very mobile attacking threat in the box, like a very mobile aerial attacking presence in the box. So him turning up back post from an in swing across, I think, I think it's or an outswinger. I think it's an outswinger. Whichever way it is when it goes in from further out in the pitch, basically, I think it's called an outswinger. Unless it's from a corner kick, then I think it's probably an in-swinger, but never mind. But it was played off of Fernandez's left boot into the back stick, and De-Ligt, fantastic positioning. I think there was another player there as well. Two of the centre back, or two of the defenders were there attacking the cross. So I think two minds were switched on, two brains fully engaged in the moment, which is important to see. De-Ligt made the contact and controlled the header. It was very much not so much about pace or power, but more about just touching, controlling it and directing it. And Ramsdale, convincingly beaten with the header, because it's a sort of header which you think, well, caress it, play it closer, closest post and all of that jazz. But he sends it back the other way. Sending it back the other way, I thought was, it's a smart decision to go with, but you need to match it with the execution. And I thought maybe the pace was slightly lacking. Maybe if there was somebody in the Southampton ranks that was, on crack, like not crack, but like who was playing cracked, like they were really with it, like on the money, maybe they might have been playing on goal line and would have cancelled that header out. But no goal line presence to stop the ball, and De-Ligt saw that and directed the header into where the goalkeeper was moving away from. So it was Ramsdale was set up to have to do almost the impossible, to switch direction. But I think he came quite far over in defending his goal line. And unfortunately for him, De-Ligt was better to it. So 1-0 to Manchester United, and that I think is where we start to see things really swing. Momentum starts to shift. Man United getting the ball a lot more, start working a lot more chances and opportunities. The ball spends more time sort of second to final thirds. Southampton here or there getting into good positions, but ultimately I think Manchester United after the first goal started to really take the majority of the control in the game. The second goal, the pass to Rashford by Diallo, and Rashford looking like he was wanting to go for the shot, and looking at where his positioning was and how many bodies there were in the way, it had to be like a really super, like a proper super strike. It had to be. And the weird thing is that it wasn't. It genuinely wasn't a super strike. It was quite low power, a touch of spin on it. So there was not a huge amount of curve or curl to it. Low altitude, a little bounce here or there, and players getting out the way. It's clearing a lot of bodies, and I think it's one of those where its trajectory is so perfectly far across to the post, to the inside of the far post. Ramsdale gets down, he covers the trajectory, but the ball's gone past by that point. So I think he sees it quite late. I think Ramsdale sees the ball coming quite late. I don't think he's anticipating a low altitude, low strength strike clearing that many players in defence, but really being that much of a danger, because usually balls like that get easily intercepted or redirected out for a corner kick or something. Usually that's what tends to happen. That's what I usually see happen from strikes like that. But it just sailed in. It just sailed in quite casually, and you know what? I think it's one of those that you're damned if you don't try it. And Rashford went for it. Like he tried it. And aside from me, where I thought Rashford's performance was outside of scoring the goal, was quite down the middle. I thought he was. There was quite a few good bits to his game. I think if he forces himself into playing with confidence, he creates, he adds an element of danger to his presence on a football pitch, and that's what he needs to do. He needs to provide being a threat on a football pitch, and it just is felt like for so long that Rashford doesn't really provide that threat, that threatening presence. He doesn't really get stuck in. He doesn't look all that engaged and all that interested. Today he scores that goal, looks quite casual about it, but then he goes on to have the fairly decent performance. He could have, he's testing Ramsdale a little bit. Ramsdale equal to the challenge, but still he's trying things on and looking like he was feeling a bit of that confidence coming back to him. I mean, he's got the goal, so he's going to carry that in. Hopefully, he should carry that into the next game. Whether he plays against Barnsley midweek, I don't know. But we'll have to see. Probably not, to be fair. He'll probably start Garnacho in this game against Barnsley. Or maybe we'll play a few more youth players, which I'll be interested to see what the squad management for that will be. But yeah, good. It was a good goal, but it just felt like there's many other days where that goal doesn't happen. Many other days, but it's happened. He's got the goal, and credit where credit is due. He's found the back of the net, and by which point 2-0. I think Southampton by this point probably feeling quite a bit defeated, and by which point Man United just sort of control it. They don't coast, but they controlled it. So yeah, I think by which point the game is pretty much the game's not gone for Southampton at this point. The point to where the game really goes for them was when their centre back Stephens gets sent off. I think there's still plenty of attacking threat that Southampton could have provided, especially throughout the second half, but just didn't capitalise on anything. Just didn't really fully engage in the second half. But another player that I think there's a lot of people that perhaps look at and think, he wasn't that good, or is Joshua Zirkzee. No goals or assists today, but from what I've seen or heard of Zirkzee today, he did all the little things in a striker's game, or a player on the pitch in attacking scenarios. He did a lot of good work on the ball. He's quite tidy, quite well controlled, level-headed. not a lot of not a lot of sort of like flashy stuff. I don't need to go complicating anything in the way of your individual performance, but it was controlled. It was exactly what it needed to be, without the goals, without the assists, right? Layoff connections, link ups, in good positions. Once or twice his touch let him down in attacking scenarios, but from what I've seen and what I've heard, he did a lot of things right. He did a lot of things right, and we can appreciate that with a striker. If you're not scoring goals or assisting goals in a striker's position, you've got to be doing something that benefits your team in some degree. You have to be. And I think he found in various instances where he could have been quite largely responsible for a lot of the good work happening in attack. And not only that, but also played full 90 minutes. So, had impact and was present for 90 minutes, which is good to see. It is very good to see with Xerxes getting many, many minutes. And that's what he needs. He needs the minutes. Absolutely does need the minutes. The more he plays, the more he's going to grow. And I think the more the team is going to connect well with him. So, again, more, long may it continue. We need to see more of it. See it continue. Keep it going. Keep it going. In terms of substitutions, now, substitutions, I think some things good, some things, I think getting Ugarte on was a necessity. I thought Garnacho coming on, again, necessity, and interestingly enough, took Rashford off. Amad Diallo, I think, stayed on. Yep, he did. So Diallo, again, got 90 minutes, got the nod, and that for me, that's a big thumbs up. That Diallo gets a full 90 minutes as well. Xerxes, Diallo, 90 minutes. We like that. We're happy with that. But so Garnacho coming on as a substitution, third goal scorer. The passage of play with the third goal was interesting because it at first it felt like it was offside, like really massively offside, that the pass was delayed. But looking at the replays, I was actually astounded by how far back I can't remember who it was. It was one of their fullbacks, I think, was massively behind the defensive line. It's almost like it was deliberate. And Dalot's just absolutely hauling ass around the outside. I think he was playing at right back at this point, back in a slightly more natural position for him, but just outside of the fullback on the right hand side, getting into a really good position. And fair play to Casemiro, spotted the run and perfectly executed the pass. No pressure on him. Had the technical ability to do it, executed the pass to absolute perfection. Dalot into the danger area, played onside by absolute lunacy defending, plays it into the danger man with Garnacho right in front of goal, takes no prisoners with the shot. Straight, high power into the roof of the net. And that's the game was dead by which point, by the way. The game was dead at this point. However, that third goal was just a sort of like the seal of approval on the game as a whole. That I think is the right sort of way to sign off. And you know what? It's a bit of a salt. It's salt in the wounds, I suppose, because it was Stevens' challenge on Garnacho, which, by the way, some people He will say, "Oh, that's not a red card. That's not a red card." I mean, it's if you were to give a red card in that sort of a challenge, that's the sort of challenge you do for, because you're not really going after the ball. Your feet aren't going into the challenge at ball height. Your studs are leading into a sliding challenge, and your leading foot is at knee height. Really weird place to be putting your foot in that scenario. No normal player should be doing that. So the second that studs or foot makes contact with the knee of Garnacho there, all bets are off. All bets are off. Like nobody genuinely should be putting their foot at that level, that far up. The attacker in making a challenge when the ball's, it's almost like Garnacho's put the ball beyond contention, and Stevens is basically he's completely misjudged the whole situation, and is almost like a withdrawn frustration in just accepting his fate by this point, and goes in leading with the studs at knee height and catches Garnacho and draws the foul. Straight red card as well. So I don't know whether Southampton would end up going on to appeal that, or whether that's something that they'll just have to take on the chin. But that's 3 games for Stevens. That's 3 games out on the touchline or in the stands for Jack Stevens. So yeah, it's he's gonna have to take that on the chin. But he's salting the wounds. Garnacho was booed for every touch after that, and then to really finish it off, he scores the winning goal as well. Pain like Bane, Adama Pictures Productions. How are we doing, buddy? Chuffed for you, despite your fringe. Wait, what's wrong with my fringe? My fringe is fine. My hairline's clamped as fuck, but my fringe is doing fine. We're doing okay. We're soaking in the 3 points, 3-point settings. Eric Ten Hag and hair plugs in. Well, I mean, maybe Ten Hag can borrow some of my hairs and plug them in. Give himself a bit of a, I don't know what you call them. Like it's sort of like that lengthy bit on top with then the ponytail, but you shaved back and sides or something. I don't know what sort of hair Eric would have, or what he would go with if he had the option to pick hair. But for me, Eric Ten Hag in, not really. I mean, I'm still very much in a position where it feels like I'm convinced that the manager is not really setting this team up to really go onwards and upwards. It does feel like, even with today, like the tactical approach was proving to have problems, or to create problems for Man United. And the fact is that individuals found a way to make it work on the pitch in the moments. Again, moments FC. In the long run, it's not going to work. It just really, really isn't. And we've got so many, really big games in the not so distant future where Southampton couldn't capitalise, everyone else will. They absolutely will. And it would be, again, us being exposed in the same way, but with us knowing that it's not really going to change. So it feels like it's less about, well, he doesn't want to play the way that he wants to at Ajax, but rather he's playing a way he knows isn't really working and is causing us problems. But he doesn't see it as a problem, but rather it's just tough sometimes. We've got to push through it. Or he'll say, "Oh, well, we're not playing too well at the moment." I'm like, but tactically, we're not dealing with what it is the opposition are doing well enough. We are the masters of our own destruction, the masters of our own downfall. Hence why tactically we'll score a goal, but risk conceding straight afterwards. So I think that needs to be addressed, but I don't really have the faith that Ten Hag would be the sort of guy to really address that. Eric Ten Hag is bald like Bane. Doesn't have a cool mask though. Doesn't have a cool mask. If Ten Hag gets a mask and sits on the touchline and just starts pulling out Bane quotes left, right, and centre, maybe there's some conversations to be had there. I say keep him on that alone. Nah, not for me. I do feel like the Ten Hag or the managerial situation. I think tactically, tactical incompetence is going to cost us all way more points this season, and I don't see it being worth it in the long run, because I don't see him looking at this and saying, yeah, maybe it's not doing right by us. We do need to change some things to make sure that playing against better opposition, the same issues don't really happen again. But we've gone through a whole season of seeing that this certain way of what we're playing doesn't really work from a defensive standpoint, but it also doesn't really constitute in a lot of goals. But we're still doing it, after an entire summer transfer window. We're still doing the same thing and having a pre-season, a big opportunity to try something new, to add a spin on things, or to create more, add layers to this game plan or to this setup, or mold it, change it, evolve it slightly. But it's literally like for like exactly the same. So for me, I genuinely don't feel like this is really going to get any better, to be honest. Don't know how everybody else feels about that, but Stephanie Griffith, 3 goals, 3.0, a goal difference, clean sheet, penalty save. Big up Fuzzy. Yeah, can't go wrong with that. 3-0 clean sheet, and on the road as well. So that's probably one of our better score lines, like away from home, for quite a while. I think the last one was probably probably wouldn't have been, because that was 4-2. Yeah, I think that game was 4-2. I was thinking about Newport County, but yeah, that's a different game. That was a different game, and probably not so much. But yeah, I think in the Premier League, probably our best away performance, or best away result in a while. So yeah, big ups to you though. For any team, you are only as good as your last game. And I think, do you know what? That's the thing, is from last game against Liverpool, we didn't necessarily play any better or worse as a team against Liverpool, against Southampton, like how we did against Liverpool. But the quality of opposition is different. Style of play is different from the opposition. And I think because there's a difference in quality, things swinging the balance more so in our favour. But we ride the luck. We ride the luck that is the opposition not being able to create as many clear-cut opportunities as a Liverpool can. So we'll take it. We'll take it. But I think we sort of know the makeup of our performances, or how we play or adapt in a game, in game scenarios. So yeah, I'm very cautious with this team, and I think being the next Premier League game being Crystal Palace away, Crystal Palace will test us in ways that Southampton didn't. Oliver Glasner can pull some very, very strong performances from that Crystal Palace team. So I'm very cautious that the challenge when we go to Selhurst Park will be, yeah, we're certainly not going to go into the next game winning 3-0. Certainly not going to be that sort of game. How much we win by, if we do win, that's if we win. We'll have to see. But yeah, we've also got Barnsley midweek as well. I mean, Jesus Christ, I think we all take that for granted by saying, yeah, guaranteed win. But upsets happen. Genuinely, upsets happen, and you just never really know. Barnsley might come to Old Trafford and absolutely embarrass us. I mean, we've already been embarrassed once this season by Liverpool at Old Trafford. Why not Barnsley do the same thing? You just don't know. But I think it's much more likely that we'll end up winning that game. But yeah, Crystal Palace away, I think is the next proper challenge, and for me, a more tougher test next weekend against Crystal Palace. Fulham's midfield was missing Polinia. Southampton's midfield, not all that compared to Brighton's and Liverpool's, so we coped okay. I think even again, this is the thing though, even against the teams that don't really have, these proper, like, either top quality players or players that are coached in a way that really exploit, like, any midfield incompetencies or any spaces that they get given, they'll exploit it. I think Brighton and Liverpool, we got essentially that midfield got what it deserved, right, in terms of performance and how the opposition played against it. With Fulham, they still exposed weaknesses in our midfield. Southampton tried to expose the same weaknesses. They all go through the same areas. And I mean, Kobbie Mainoo today, it showed. It really, really showed, because he was outnumbered. He was outnumbered again today. So whoever it is that plays in the number 6, evidently in defensive scenarios, there's still a little bit of a gap between midfield and defence. But being on your own in midfield, you're doing essentially in defensive capacity sometimes 2 players' jobs. But even then, those 2 players have got a lot of eyes that they have to use. A lot of players to keep an eye on, to track runs, to move accordingly. Kobbie Mainoo doing all of that on his own is never going to work. Never going to work. Popped onto a yellow card as well. I suppose that's the only real sort of credit that we can give to Kobbie Mainoo today, was, that he didn't play silly, he didn't play stupid when he got popped onto a yellow card. He played from 25 minutes onwards, like he actually, 26th minute, like he actually was on a yellow card, and just didn't do anything stupid. Just occupied a position on the pitch, ran with a player, and just sat in the way. And that's literally what you have to do if you're on a yellow card, especially that early in the game. The best you can do is just be a nuisance, be in the way. Just, you want to run past me, try and run past me. I'm just going to run next to you. Question: do you think starting Eriksen was brave or stupid? I think starting Eriksen, if it was further forward, would have been braver. But being the defensive or the midfield partner to Mainoo, that to me is a bit stupid. It's a bit stupid that Agate, who's fully fit, match ready, match sharp, was on the bench today. And don't let anybody forget that. Today, Agate was a bench player with full match fitness and sharpness. He came off international duty having played twice. He was ready. He was ready to play this game. Eriksen, I think Eriksen's got his qualities, but for me, being as a player who's not really got that much legs, but he's got a good eye for a pass, he's got good technical ability, good technique, quite tidy. He needs to play in attacking areas of the pitch. He played forwards today, but his positioning was meant to be alongside as Mainu's support structure. Bruno Fernandes isn't going to track back all the time. Bruno isn't going to work on his defensive aspects or defensive capacity to support his other midfielders. He whoever is, I mean, Bruno, okay, if he stays forward or doesn't really track back, the partner to Mainu in midfield should do the job. Whoever that is, it should have been Agate to help Mainu out. That didn't happen because Eriksen was the choice of player, and Eriksen's going to go forwards, and he's not going to have the legs to come all the way back. So essentially, more times than not, Eriksen's going to stay forwards. By the time the ball is in the final third in Manchester United's half, Eriksen's not going to be around to help Mainu at all. Neither is Fernandes. The balance options or the choice in that midfield, choosing to play him in that position, have we not learnt a damn thing? And to me, Eric has not learnt anything from the options he's got for the midfield. Because Agate was fully fit, and if Eriksen's on the bench and you start Bruno up top, Eriksen coming on to play further forwards, it's close. It's much closer to his specialised position. Eriksen should be used only as an impact controlling substitute. I think for me, I prefer rotating Eriksen and Bruno. To be honest, that's his best position on the football pitch. That's where he did his best work with Inter Milan. That's where he did his best work, where he does his best work for Denmark, and it's also where he did his best work for Tottenham and Ajax, further forwards. Number 10, in those areas of the pitch. So unless he's constantly the late arrival in the box, I mean, God only knows how he's going to manage that. For me, playing him anywhere else that isn't the number 10, he's not mid-20s. He's early 30s. He's early 30s, and he's slowing down. It's like Juan Mata. Maybe not as specialised a number 10, but in that later stage of his career, not quick, needs to play in a specific position. He's not this whole thing of modern versatility. We like versatile players who can play in 7 different positions on a football pitch. Eriksen's narrowed down to 1. He's narrowed down to 1. He can't do anything else on the pitch effectively or efficiently for me. So we've got to utilise him where we know his position is best, which is the number 10, which is where Bruno plays. So idealistically, that's the obvious substitution in that situation. So that's where I am with this at the moment. Sorry, Fuzzy, I'm out to see the link you sent. No worries, Anthony. It's just an extended invitation in case if anybody fancied it, then they'll be welcomed on as well. So when Mount fit, he is ahead of Eriksen. I think so. I think that's the plan. To be honest, I'll put Eriksen ahead of Mount because I don't really rate him. I don't really rate Mason Mount. I genuinely think in a number 10 position, Eriksen's got a lot. He's got a lot more to give. Mount's just faster. and he's not that much faster either. He's faster and more energy to his game, but I don't see how Mount technically offers anything more. So yeah, for me, Ericsson. If it was my team, Ericsson's second choice and Mount's third. But he's the number 7. He's number 7, and he cost the club £55 million plus 10. So I think we all know which way round it's going to be. But yeah, not great. You had a good win. My brother had the score right in the predictions. He did. Funnily enough, I'm pretty sure. I mean, there's quite a few games that I'm losing points on. Quite a few games I lose points on, but also a couple of games that I gain points on in the score predictors. So I need to check on my fantasy Premier League team as well. I need to check on all of these things. Yeah, we're lacking. We're moving like Ten Hag's consistency. And a big ups to each other there. Lovely stuff. But yeah, just as a summary wrap-up point, Manchester United 3-0. Great, good result. Good result. I think could have been 4s, 5s, or 6s quite easily, but not to be. But that's just Manchester United in modern day for you. We don't really score many goals. I think individuals look technically neat, technically tidy, which is good to see. It looks like we've still got, a fairly respectable standard of quality of player in the team. The right-hand side of our team, defensively and offensively, looking very well balanced, well-rounded. Great link-ups down the right-hand side. Rashford, maybe it's a confidence booster. Maybe he'll actually perform better and actually provide, final product on the pitch a lot more than just being a placeholder on the pitch. Xerxes, underrated work. It's like a thankless job I think he did today. Bit of a thankless job, but an important job nonetheless. Mainu, exposed midfield again, set up not right, no balance to it. And defensive partnerships. I mean, defence looks fairly good, barring the left back. We do need a natural left back to come back and be available for that side of the pitch. Not to say that Dalot's doing a bad job, but I think we can see where Dalot gets more down his natural side on the right. He provides a bit more of a susceptible threat. And I think defensively, the left-hand side can be caught out once or twice. Onana, just a solid performance. Did what he needed to. Some good saves here and there. And, of course, the penalty save. And aside from that, I'll probably say, if I had to give it out of 10, I'd probably say about the 7. 7 out of 10, solid 3-0 with a clean sheet away from home. Yeah, there's nothing really to go raving mad about. It's quite standard, quite straightforward, easy as you like. So, yeah, we'll take it. We could have, if penalty goes in, it could have been a very different day, but it didn't happen. Onana made the save, and we are sat here right now talking about a 3-0 win. So we'll take it as it comes. We'll take it in whatever form it happens. But anyways, leave your thoughts and your verdicts in a comment section down below, and tell us what your thoughts about that game were, the performances, the player performances, individualistics, and the collectives. What your verdicts on the managerial, game management was, the starting 11. What were your thoughts on that, and the substitutions? And yeah, aside from that, don't forget to to smash them likes on the way out, and also subscribe if you haven't done so already. Once again, big thank yous to everybody who tunes in and supports the channel. Most certainly appreciated. And get to not have a Sunday off, unfortunately, and enjoy the win, or to revel in the 3 points. But we're back to work again tomorrow. So, yeah, hopefully some more entertainment in the footballing world with the North London derby tomorrow. From 2 o'clock onwards, and then rounding out the weekend with Wolves versus Newcastle. It'll be an interesting one. I think it starts as Super Sunday and ends as All Right Sunday, I guess. But anyways, take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday nights. Saturday nights are right for fighting. But until then, until next time, tomorrow, Sunday night takeaway show, if that's going on, we will be there. We will be there, guys. Be the light bulb. Where is my light bulb? Mikel has stolen my light bulb. This light bulb, guys. Be the light bulb. And if it shines extra bright, you may get lifetime contract. You may get a lifetime contract, guys. Believe. And if you don't have a light bulb, get yourself a sack of potatoes, because potatoes can be anything. Could be a chip, could be a crisp, could be a fry, could be a jacket potato, could be whatever. But anyways, take care, everybody. Enjoy your Saturdays, and we'll see you at the very least tomorrow. Ciao.